is so exciting. It's so wonderful to see familiar faces. We have some mentors here. We have some sponsors here. We have our families here. Hi, Mom and Dad. Thanks for coming. Tonight is going to be really fun. We're going to walk through just like everything we've done this summer and then a bunch of highlights, and the fellows are going to get up and hold the mic and share what they've done. So I think we are ready to go ahead and get started. And I'd like to say this is a really big night for a couple reasons. It's really, really exciting for all of the fellows to be getting to showcase their projects, their amazing projects. And I also just bought this clicker. You can go forward, you can go backwards, there's a laser, so kind of a big deal for me. But I'll show you, here's our agenda, starting with our program overview, and then we are going to welcome up Kyle Cutt for a keynote, and project demos from the fellows, and then awards at the end. And just so everyone's aware, we probably are planning to end around 8:30 tonight. I know that's a little late, so some of you might have to duck out early, and that's completely fine. Please feel comfortable to do so if that's what you need to do. First, I'd like to kind of introduce you to the rest of the team. I see them walking in with their food right now. Sorry, we've been running around all afternoon kind of getting things set up. We have an incredibly complex tech setup. Thank you, Micah, for figuring that out. So they are sitting down with their food, but I'm just gonna have them kind of raise their hands and wave. Micah, John V, and Yash. Yay! John V. Medilla is the Vice Director of the Kansas Blockchain Fellowship. She's also VP of Engineering for the KU Blockchain Institute, so she has a role with that organization as well. John V's done a ton of our operations things, vision, logistics for the program. Basically everything that happens that works, it's because John V's done it. And then Yash Prajapati is our head of partnerships, but he does a lot more than that. He's also done all the finances and all of the budget for us, which has been amazingly helpful because I'm terrible at math and don't know how to use Excel. So thank you, Yash. Yash is also the VP of Finance for KU Blockchain Institute. And then Micah Borghese, who is doing all of our AV stuff tonight, has also done it for all of the past nights. So it's been amazingly helpful. That's why we've been able to record our classes and have all the things where like the computer plugs into different monitors, and I can't explain it, whatever, he does it. But he's director of education for this program. And so he's also done all of the quizzes. He's set up this amazing quiz feedback system that we'll share in a little bit, and has like 10 billion GitHub commits to all of our repositories, and it's been amazing. So I have to say, these are not only my dear friends, but also it's been such a pleasure working with them in this program, and they have been an incredible team to work with. And I realized I did not officially introduce myself, I don't think. So I'm Emma. I'm the program director for the Kansas Blockchain Fellowship. I'm former president of the KU Blockchain Institute. I'm a student here at KU, graduating in December in computer science and visual arts. For tonight, I want to start here. This is a blockchain. You guys really don't need to know what a blockchain is to be able to follow along tonight, but it might help. So we're going to give you two definitions. And the first one is boring, and the second one is fun. So here's the boring definition. You can read it. I'll share the highlights. A blockchain is a distributed ledger or database. It's just a database that's structured as sequential lists or blocks of transactions. Each new list includes a fingerprint of the previous one so that they're all linked together in an irreversible chain. That's the first part. Here's the second. With these lists of transactions, they are now broadcasted out to a network of nodes. The nodes are really just computers. After a block is verified by all nodes, the transactions cannot be altered or deleted, which makes a blockchain a secure and trustless system. Now, if that didn't really sink in, that's totally fine. Boring, who cares? Who cares about that? Okay, here's a story. If you like stories like me, maybe this will resonate. The story starts with a village, kind of like Minecraft. You guys played Minecraft? Raise your hand if you played Minecraft. Oh, a lot of nerds in here tonight. Okay, just kidding. I love Minecraft. Minecraft, there's villages. In the village, there's villagers, right? So the villagers, they make these trades. For example, here, one villager is trading 9 eggs or whatever for 1 milk, or maybe it's 2 emerald for 24 eye of newt, or whatever. They're making these trades. And it gets kind of complex because they start to have trades that are IOUs. So it might be, I give you 15 bread, and then you give me a 2-day getaway at your Breckenridge ski in, ski out condo in December, or something like that, where it's like the transaction doesn't happen right in that moment, but it still needs to be recorded because it's still happening. So when they begin to have these IOUs among them, it becomes important to keep track of the transactions that people are owed. So what they do in the village is they appoint this very, very evil looking ledger keeper. And he keeps the ledger, and he has a handlebar mustache, and he raises his eyebrow, and he looks very suspicious. But they appoint him to keep the ledger and keep track of what everybody owes everybody else. Seems like a great system. It's convenient, it's efficient. However, the ledger keeper maybe begins to charge an extra transaction for certain people, or maybe he makes everybody pay him a little extra. You guys know in the Bible, everyone hates the tax collectors because they just made it up. Whatever you owe, they just decided, right? When there's one ledger keeper, they can do this. So the villagers needed a better system. What they decided was that each household in the village was going to keep their own copy of the ledger. So they were all going to record all of the transactions independently, and then they were going to meet maybe in the village square or in this conference room from the Canva image. They were going to meet and they were going to compare their ledgers to make sure that it all adds up among them, right? Seems like a much better system because nobody can tamper with it. And if they do, everyone else has the correct copy of the ledger, right? So they can determine whether it's the truth or not. In this village, what they came up with is really a decentralized system for recording truth in a collective way, where the truth is transparent and it's secure, right? This is an analogy for blockchain. So maybe if the first definition didn't make as much sense, I hope that this analogy might kind of color in some of the important things to understand about blockchain. Why does this matter? Here's a date, 1974. Something that happened in 1974, 50 years ago, was the Equal Credit Opportunity Act was passed. This meant that in the US, women were now able, finally, to open their own bank account in their own name without somebody else's permission. That was only 50 years ago. Now, even unfortunately, if you do have access to banking now, which not everybody does, right? Not everybody can access a bank account. Even if you do, it can be horribly inefficient. I know anyone who's ever sent money overseas knows how much time it takes, how high the transaction fees are. It's a very inefficient system. Here's another example. And even when it's maybe efficient, sometimes it's not always reliable, right? Like, anybody heard of the Great Depression? Or there's lots of other examples. And what blockchain does that's interesting is now it allows people to not necessarily have to rely on banks or third parties like this. They can actually own their own digital assets. But it's not just about money, right? Like, banks is a really easy example, but it's about data ownership. It's about digital identity. Has anybody ever had to fill one of these out? Because they always make me wonder if I'm human or not, because they're always so hard, right? Or here's another example. With art and design and creative media, what blockchain enables is for people to actually be able to monetize and tokenize their art and creative works in really unique ways that allow them to maintain ownership and more full control of them. All right, one. Decentralization offers new paradigms for individual protection and collective action by distributing trust. So both on an individual level in terms of ownership, as well as transparent, secure, shared ownership, among other things. This is something I want to highlight. I shared a lot of examples. I gave a definition. It's okay if none of that stuck, but just keep this in mind as we go through the Capstone projects, as we go through what the fellows have created, because these are the principles of technology that they're building around. And also, with all of those lofty examples, I want to emphasize that it's not just about here tonight. It's not just about what the fellows have done over the summer, but it's also about what they're now equipped to go out and do, both kind of in this blockchain and tech industry at large, but also here and now in Kansas. This is the Kansas Blockchain Fellowship. So obviously we have a lot of care and a big heart for what's happening here where we are. We started with all of those ideas. We started with the basics of blockchain, but we didn't stop there. We kind of went through all of this, going from these general theoretical ideas into more practical and specific tools throughout the summer. So we started with basics, went into applications of blockchain, DeFi and regulation, overview of industry. What else? Oh, a development workshop. Oh, I taught that. I don't know why I forgot that. IPFS and Pinata workshop, as well as last night, we ended at like 10 p.m. with an AI and Web3 workshop. So the fellows have put in so much work over the summer, not just in these classes, but also in so much else. To give you a glimpse of the classes, they sometimes looked like this. Here's one of our mentors, Pat Fellon, who came to speak. Pat is our mentor from Ripple. They sometimes looked like this. This was Austin Adams from Uniswap, as well as his cat lecturing on DeFi. And they sometimes look like this. This is some people high-fiving because because I said I'm about to take a picture of you guys. So look like look like accomplished or something. So they did a great job. And in addition to the in-person classes, we had some digital infrastructure that we built out. So here's an example. You guys won't have seen this before because only the fellows have access to this through their token-gated, on-chain verified credentials using biometric authentication. Sorry, it's kind of exclusive. We used Heirloom for that, which was kind of a fun experiment with like new emerging startup on-chain technology. And that means it sometimes didn't work, but we got to QA test for them, which was really fun. And we loved getting to use Heirloom. Here's the dashboard. This is where they could view all their assignments and things like that. And then also a directory of all the mentors' contact information. So all of the mentors generously offered for any of the fellows anytime to reach out about their capstone projects or just to talk. We have a few mentors in the room today. We'll maybe make them introduce themselves later or something. But maybe actually, if you were a mentor from the program we're supporting, could you maybe give a little wave? You know, Thea, Hudson, I can wave. Hey. Thanks, mentors. And then we also have this resources page. So we had all of the lectures uploaded here if they needed to come back and look at them later. And then also all of the links and things that were mentioned in class, the fellows had access to that. We also gave some quizzes in class, and we're not totally married to tech all the time. So we did these on paper and pen. Micah wrote these quizzes, and here was the incredibly elegant and complex system that he came up with. The fellows would take quizzes on paper, they'd fill them out with all of the perfectly correct answers, and then we would scan them, and our team would grade them with digital feedback. And then the digital feedback and the scanned version of the quiz would be encrypted and uploaded to decentralized file storage on IPFS using Pinata. And then it would be minted, it would be tokenized, minted to the fellows' wallets so that they would then be able to access it through their wallet. And that sounds really scary, so I'll just show you how easy it was, because all of the fellows, okay, actually I think it was like 95% of the fellows said that the quiz feedback was helpful and they were able to access it every week. So here's Micah's example of he logged in and then he's able to view the quiz feedback here. So this is kind of our like, I guess, decentralized Canva or Canvas, decentralized Canvas type thing. And then here, Micah's looking and seeing the transaction on the Block Explorer. So this was a really kind of fun way where we were able to integrate using blockchain technology into the class itself. And what that gave was, first of all, kind of experiential hands-on learning, and then also just an ability for throughout the summer, the fellows to be seeing use cases kind of in real time, in real life. So classes was one component of the program, and then mentorship and projects were the other major two. So here are our mentors, our incredible mentors, and every single one of these mentors had some kind of tie either to KU directly or to Kansas. So some of them, I'll share 8 of them, in fact, were KU alumni. 6 of them were in the KC Lawrence local area. 4 of them had previously or currently were working at Fortune 500 companies. 3 of them were C-level. 5 of them were core contributors or chief architects of the technology that they were working on. And then 8 of them visited in person over the summer. So you'll probably recognize some of these logos. We have a really, really impressive group of mentors that graciously volunteered to be a part of the program. And this was really touching to me because as we were planning the program, we were reaching out to people who we never thought would have responded. And I have to say, I got LinkedIn Premium so that I could in-mail Thea over there. And she responded like right away. And Thea at the time was leading talent brand at Coinbase and is now head of talent brand at Kraken. And I feel like I'm in the presence of a celebrity. So thank you so much, Thea, for being here and for responding to my in-mail so graciously. And every single one of our mentors was so generous with their time and so eager to volunteer and be a part of things because they care about blockchain innovation in Kansas. And I'll tell you a little bit of the story too, of kind of how things started. So here's a picture of our founding team. Here's a more realistic picture. This was us sweaty in the parking lot, like midnight after we finished class one night. But back to the polished picture because we look a lot better there. How we started was we conceptualized that there would be 12 fellows in this summer program. And the whole purpose of the program was really just to create an opportunity over the summer to allow people who maybe didn't have internships, or maybe they did, but they wanted to get into blockchain technology and spend a summer doing professional development and learning new skills in that sense. We wanted to create an opportunity that was a 7-week intensive for these 12 fellows to really just be immersed in this and to build something. So it's kind of like classes, kind of like hackathon, kind of talent incubator, kind of summer intensive, a little bit boot camp, a little bit summer camp. And that was the vision that we went into it with. And graciously, with our vision for 12 fellows, Pinata stepped in to fully sponsor the program and cover all program costs, as well as all scholarships for our 12 fellows. Maybe we can actually get a round of applause for that. But then the vision expanded because we had so many applicants apply to the program. And so we had 4 fellows on this wait list that we really, really wanted to admit into the program. And so this was where Ripple stepped in, and Ripple helped us expand the program to then bring this number up from 12 to 16 and create this opportunity for more people. And then we had another vision, which was that we wanted to give each of the fellows and each of the participating mentors a copy of Chris Dixon's Read, Write, Own, which is the best primer in Web3 for whether you're technical or non-technical. Any parents or anybody here, please, seriously, if you're a reader, borrow your fellow's copy. I recommend this to everybody. It's great. We have a couple extras if you need one, come ask. But when we wanted this gift, this book for each of all of our fellows, this is where A16Z graciously stepped in and donated 30 copies at no cost. So we're so thankful for all of these people who've helped us get here to this point. And this is where, once we had kind of everything planned out, we had all the mentors, we had the sponsors, we had the curriculum planned out, and we were finding exactly who was going to be in the program. And this is where some more kind of final decisions came in that we had left a little bit open, because we wanted this program to be really, really tailored to everybody who was involved. We didn't know if it was going to be all computer science students or all finance or all like art or something. We just didn't know going into it, and we wanted to make sure that this really suited you guys. So you guys filled out, I don't even know, probably 86 Google Forms over the summer. Thank you. I know form fatigue is so real, and I think we have like 2 more. So you're coming down the home stretch. But here was an example of how we were kind of making those data-driven decisions to tailor the program, where we asked, how do the fellows learn best? Because we wanted to design everything around this. And so we got working one-on-one with mentors. Quizzes, to be honest, was a little low, but this was a program by students, for students. So we know that quizzes really are helpful. So that did become a big part of the program. And then practical assignments. This was another huge thing that we had kind of all throughout the summer in terms of setting up wallets on exchanges and things like that. And something I meant to mention earlier as I was introducing the mentors was also that each fellow had the opportunity to interview a mentor one-on-one. So we didn't have assigned mentors because that can be a little bit constricting, but we did assign them for just this one assignment so that there was a chance to establish a deep connection with one mentor right from the start. And then those continued all through the summer, and everybody was able to kind of interact with everybody. And as I mentioned, 8 of those mentors did visit in person, which was a huge value add because this program was in person, because as you guys know, there's really nothing that quite comes close to in-person connection for things like classes and best learning and everything. So I'm going to explain the Capstone projects a little bit more once we get into that section of things, but thank you. This was our introduction, our kind of program overview, and I'm so excited to have the honor to introduce to you guys Kyle Tutt, who is the CEO and co-founder of Pinata. Pinata was our first sponsor who stepped in to make those 12 scholarships possible, and truly we would not be here if it weren't for Pinata. Kyle's going to share a lot more about what Pinata does and his journey, but one thing I wanted to share is that what was so meaningful and personal about this sponsorship was that Pinata is based, well, it's global, but it's kind of headquartered in Omaha, Nebraska, which is really just a couple 100 miles away. And well, probably felt longer when you were driving it today, about 3 hours away. And so this is kind of a little bit of a full circle moment for us where, as this started as the Kansas Blockchain Fellowship, we were able to kind of really emphasize the vision of having this be Midwestern investment into Midwestern talent. So thank you so much, Kyle Tutt. Let's please welcome him up.
Great. Can everybody hear me? Yep. Cool. Give another round of applause to Emma because this is absolutely incredible. She even got balloons that are our colors. That's very, I appreciate that. I have 10 minutes, right? I wanted to tell the story of, founding Pinata, how I got into blockchain, but first I just wanted to explain why we supported this and why we think it's so important. So, when I started college all the way back in 2010, Bitcoin was barely around and blockchain really wasn't a thing. By the time I got out of college, I finally actually knew what Bitcoin was and was interested in it. But I didn't have a lot of resources being in Omaha, Nebraska, of like how to build, how to do anything. I'm also non-technical. So I was working at a startup in town, and I just got really passionate about first Bitcoin and then eventually Ethereum. I was deep down kind of in the rabbit hole of Reddit, subreddits, trying to learn what this stuff actually is. But I was very much in isolation. And I've always kind of felt that I wish I had more friends along the journey. And that is why we support this so fully, is because you guys have a bunch of friends that you can rely on, and hopefully go out and either start your own company one day, which I would highly recommend, or you'll be able to get jobs at great companies in the blockchain and crypto space. But as far as for Pinata itself, so I had mentioned I was working at a startup actually in racing. It had absolutely nothing to do with blockchain or crypto. But in April of 2017, I decided to quit my job and jump into blockchain full time. As I mentioned, I didn't have like any friends or anybody to really talk about blockchain and crypto with. So I was definitely flying blind at the time. But what I did is I jumped on the plane and I flew to New York. And the reason I did this is I heard about this hackathon that was taking place it was called Consensus Conference. And I figured, the only way I'm actually gonna break through in this space is number one, lock myself in a room for 24 hours with some software engineers that actually know what they're doing, but also just like try to see what's happening in the space. So that was in May of 2017. We ended up being one of the winners of that hackathon, and that kind of gave me the confidence to keep going out and keep building. That first hackathon project was just like Monopoly on the blockchain. So it was very, very simple, but we were talking about property rights and cool things like that. But that gave me the confidence that, being from Nebraska or being from the Midwest, that I was going to be able to actually, compete with Silicon Valley or New York or all the coastal cities. So what I did that summer is I kept going to blockchain hackathons, and I was just kind of either driving or flying somewhere. I had no money. I was living in my parents' basement trying to make all of this work. But I did eventually figure out, hey, I do want friends in Omaha. So I started the blockchain meetup group in Nebraska, and that grew to actually almost 500 people, um, which was incredible at the time. But what was the best of that is I was able to find my co-founder, Matt Ober. So he was the co-founder and CTO ultimately of Pinata. At this time, we hadn't started the company yet. We jumped on a plane again, went to another hackathon. You'll notice recurring theme of hackathons are very important. And I'm going to be super excited to see what you guys built. But we went to this hackathon called ETH Waterloo. And at that hackathon in 2018 is where this game called CryptoKitties was actually released and made. And CryptoKitties would go on to become this massive NFT game all the way back in 2018. And from there, we had this kind of idea of, hey, being able to manage files associated with blockchains is super important. At the time, everybody was using this thing called IPFS, or the Interplanetary File System. However, it was like super slow and didn't work very well and was difficult to actually use. And so Matt and I came up with the idea to just make it as simple as possible to use IPFS. And so we launched Pinata at a hackathon again at ETH Berlin. We ended up being the winners of that hackathon, and at that point, we thought we were going to raise hundreds of millions of dollars and take over the world, and everything was going to go great. It did not do that. I had to suffer 2 more years in my parents' basement, and we really, really struggled. Part of it was because crypto was in a winter; it was in a down market back in 2018, 2019. But part of it was NFTs hadn't become a big thing yet, so we didn't actually have a use case. So, one of the things I would always recommend is think about what those use cases are for what you're actually building. Sometimes it's fun to just build stuff, but eventually you have to kind of have the market for it, and we didn't. So we had to just basically wait it out until NFTs became super popular. And so in 2020, we actually started to see a boom in the NFT market happening, and basically all of the NFTs out there were using Pinata and IPFS underneath to manage their files, whether it was the artwork or the images or the audio or video or whatever it ultimately was. They were using us, and we started to grow. And in 2021, we were able to raise a seed round finally. But the way we did it was quite unconventional and goes back to, you do have to operate a little bit different in the Midwest. So we ultimately raised money from Greylock and then Pantera, which Greylock's in Silicon Valley and Pantera's in New York. But the way they found us was they found my blogs. And so you have to, if you're coming from the Midwest, I think there's a lot of advantages you have, which is like a great supportive community. Kansas City has wonderful angels and investors as well, but you get a ton of support and leverage that. When I was struggling in my parents' basement there for 2 years, I don't think I would have been able to like survive in Silicon Valley without the support of the community. I'm just kind of nobody doing nothing in Silicon Valley versus having my friends and my family and my community there. And so like make sure you leverage that. But I also didn't have the network, right? That's the downside. So most of blockchain and crypto, especially back then, is still happening on the coasts. And so I needed a way to get my voice out there. And however you want to do it, you can do it. But we use blogs and just wrote a lot. And we talked about how we perceived the blockchain world and how we thought about NFTs. And it was a contrarian take compared to what most of the people at the time were saying. We didn't believe NFTs were worth anything, and everybody else was saying they were worth millions of dollars. We thought that was kind of odd, but the market went crazy and there was a lot of speculation. But ultimately, the market has changed, and now it looks very much like what we thought it was going to look like, which is at the end of the day, NFTs are just a technology. Blockchain is just a technology. It can move money and it can move big amounts of money. But we leveraged kind of our, I always kind of think of it as agrarian roots and like practicality and thinking things through. And I think the only reason we could do that is because, again, we were based in the Midwest, and we weren't just listening to the rhetoric about NFTs are going to be worth a lot or not worth a lot, and just focused on, hey, how can we help them, and how can we build a better product for them? So fast forward, NFTs collapse in 2022, and we had to struggle again. So at one point we were actually 50 people, and now we're currently at 17. And the reason I share that is crypto is a very fun space, but it's mostly about survival. It's not always about just the next best idea, or taking the full market. You have to be very careful in this space. But it's also a lot of fun. I enjoy everything I do. We get to work with the most incredible, software engineers in the world, building incredible applications with cryptography, and now it's starting to come. Crypto and AI are coming together, and that's a really exciting trend that we love. That is kind of replacing NFTs for us. And so, the biggest thing, and I'll wrap up. Am I at 10 minutes? Yeah. Okay. The biggest thing I just wanted to share is keep building, keep going to hackathons. We'll try to support things like this as much as possible. I'll make a plug for, is it Hack KC? We also sponsor that. So go to those. But that's where you're going to find, again, your friends, your community. You might find your co-founder if you guys want to start your own companies. Highly recommend it. Or you might ultimately find, people that can get you hired somewhere else, right? And so just keep building, and you're in a really incredible space, and it'll be a fun journey. Just keep building. So with that, thank you, and another round of applause for Emma, because this is incredible.
Thank you so much, Kyle. Thank you, Kyle, and thank you again to the whole Pinata team. It's been such a pleasure to have you guys be such a big part of things. And I also want to say, I know there are a couple other people in the room who maybe aren't participating in the fellowship, but who were at Hack Midwest and competed on the Pinata track. So kind of fun to see some of those Midwest things come more full circle. But now, as Kyle kind of introduced us to this concept of hackathons, we're going to talk about the hackathon that we did, the capstone portion of this program. So the capstones, to give you guys a little bit of background, here was the assignment. Basically, you could do whatever you wanted. It was just do something that's interesting to you, do something that's challenging to you, and do something with blockchain. And for context, with pretty much any hackathon, any other hackathon, you work in teams, typically of maybe like 2 to 4 or 5 people. But what was really unique about these capstones is that every single one of these fellows worked individually. So that challenges you in really unique ways, because it means that every single one of them both worked on the front end and the back end. They interacted with the blockchain. They were the one in charge of pitching it. They really, every single time, it was a one-person show. That is a huge challenge. And then on top of that, this was a 7-week program, but the capstones, though they began thinking about it at the beginning of the summer, the capstone development was really only the last 2 weeks. And not only that, but that was also the whole time that they had really to get the hands-on practical Web3 development skills. So think of it like this. In 2 weeks, each of these fellows built these projects by themselves and had to learn all of the technology necessary to do it. And now they're going to get up and they're going to stand on stage and they're going to share what they did. And we're so excited to see and celebrate with them. And then we'll get into some awards and special recognitions after. I also want to mention that there are QR codes on the table. We have a lot of awards from the mentors. We have awards from the KBF team, and the fellows voted on projects as well. And we also want to include you guys in that. So we're going to have an audience choice honor. This won't be reflected in a monetary prize, but this will be just kind of a way to recognize maybe any other projects that you guys think ought to be highlighted, maybe more than they were. So I would say wait until the end of all of these, and maybe even until the end of the other judging to fill that out, but did want to make you aware of that. And please, one person, one vote, but you can just vote for your child if you want. It's okay if it's biased, it's whatever. And fellows, you're not allowed to vote in this because you already voted in the fellow choice, so. Okay, oh, I'm sorry. And actually, I'm gonna switch presentations really quickly because the fellows have different slides. We didn't want to spoil the prizes for them. So I'm going to come over here and pull up the demos. And are fellows ready? Okay, yay. I'm gonna welcome up Elia Morse for our first demo.
Thank you so much, Emma, for that introduction. I wanted to tell you a little bit more about myself. I'm a senior graduating next year in computer science, and I made a project called Authentihash. What it does...
So sorry.
Ooh, okay.
Apologies.
There we go. Authentihash. I decided to make this project because I have a problem with AI. Not just AI in particular, but not being able to tell whether something I interact with on the internet is made by AI or not. So I saw a statistic the other day that says about 11.5% of content in Google's top results is suspected to be generated by AI. We really need a way to tell whether the content that you interact with and the content that you create is authentically created, which is why you want to be able to protect your creation as an artist. And you also want to provide that certainty for businesses who want to ensure that they're actually purchasing content that is made by a human and protecting themselves against that liability that's introduced by potentially having content that's misleading or not researched or just straight up false too. So my project is a solution where you can store your proof of authorship on the blockchain. This is a text editor where you can type everything from your numbers to your letters, but also if you decide to copy and paste, every single action that you do, every keystroke is tracked within this keystroke logger. Then you can create a hash, which is just a one-way encryption where everything that you create and tied to that date and timestamp is then put into an encryption, which just creates that kind of trail that you created it, that you have these human steps of backspacing, spacing, rewriting and editing your ideas. And then it can be tied to your wallet to show that this is authentically yours. And ta-da, there you go. And I decided to make it using React, JavaScript, and then MetaMask, where I had an example contract of Solidity on Ethereum, just as a way to show how you could potentially use this hash function, and then you could store and retrieve that data. I also use that Solidity contract and Ethereum ether.js. And then my next plans for this project would potentially be to create a plugin that you could use on Google Docs or Microsoft Word. And then you could just use it a lot more accessibly. And you could use it in your day-to-day or potentially on any text editor within your browser. And I'd want to make an easier way as well to share your content. Thank you so much.
All right, hello everyone. My name is Marcos. I'll be a junior in computer science this upcoming fall. And yeah, so project I work on is called Find My Food. And it's basically meant to be an app for people to use where they can track where their food comes from. And so quick statistic, I was talking with Daniel Jones, who I interviewed, who works at Walmart International. And he told me that by 2028, every retail, like your Walmart, every big grocery store will have to verify in some sort of way where their food comes from. So that really pushed me into diving into this sector and implementing something like this. So a quick overview of how it works is the motivation was to build an app that I would want to use myself and I could see other people using as well. Say for when they go grocery shopping or something like that, they can pull out their phone and scan any product. But yeah, this also comes up in when stores have to deal with recalls and products have to get sent back and they have to find that. That process can take days, and by doing something like this, we can bring that down to just seconds and prevent more diseases from spreading. But yeah, I'll get into how it works. So I connected my MetaMask wallet, and basically every transaction will be stored, so you can see where that the food is sourced from. So on the supply chain, you'll be able to see where it came from, all the way from the farmer, say, to the distributor, how it passed to the retailer, and then now to you as the consumer. But yeah, I just deployed most of my smart contracts for each stakeholders in the supply chain using Hardhat. And yeah, each product gets a unique immutable blockchain address that can't be changed. So you know if that product for sure is affected by a recall or things like that. So yeah, some next steps are, this is my prototype that I built using Figma because I spent a lot of time developing the back end and not working so much with the front end. So I envisioned it to be an actual mobile app where users can scan a product up here or they can upload a product. And for that implementation, moving forward, I could use something like IPFS and Pinata to store the actual files that they upload. And you can see here in the supply chain, they'll be able to see all the way from the manufacturer to them as the consumer, where it's passed through, and even the farm or where they were located. But yeah, that was my project, and I learned a lot about how to use blockchain. And one of my favorite parts of the program was just learning how to make my first decentralized app. The workshop was my favorite. So thank you guys.
Hello, my name is Eli Chapman, and can I get a show of hands real quick? How many of you have heard of Dungeons and Dragons? Many of you, yes, many nerds. So my creation was Campaign Chain, and so if you guys are anything like me, when you play Dungeons and Dragons, it's probably rather unorganized, right? It's just a group of friends getting together, and typically for me, a group of very forgetful friends who don't really like writing things down. And so what I did was I sought out to make essentially a ledger app that you can record the events of your D&D session in a sort of timeline. And so what this would look like is this would be the dungeon master would be able to create events on the blockchain that would have timestamps so that you can look back and say, this is when that happened, or this event happened before this one. And players are able to mint their own NFTs for their own player character. So everyone has their individual unique player, and the dungeon master can build events that interact with those NFTs. And so there's also no real precedent for this, no tools that are quite similar to this. And so it was a very open area, and I was able to kind of build it however I see fit, really. And so for this, I used React, a JavaScript library, which I have experience working with front-end development. And everything else was new, though. I used Solidity to build some smart contracts to handle the player NFTs and then the event creation. I used Truffle to deploy these smart contracts onto the Ethereum chain. And I used Go Ethereum, or Geth, to actually create a local Ethereum chain on the computer. And so what this would look like is users would be able to download and clone the repository onto their computer and then host it, and the players would be able to host nodes during the campaign. And so this was very challenging for me. I'm like I said, I work mostly in front-end development. And so a lot of this back-end stuff I did not have much experience with. And I also have worked a lot on teams, and it's much more difficult when you're working just alone. So this is really cool, actually, because I got to learn a lot about how to take different approaches to coding and how to utilize different systems for databases that I'm not really used to at all. So I'm really glad that I did this program. And some of the takeaways: Go Ethereum, very complicated to use. I did not anticipate that much at all, but I did manage to actually get it figured out quite a bit, and I'm quite proud of what happened. And I also developed a much better understanding of what blockchain actually is and how it can actually be utilized. And I think that it's quite cool to see, especially with this, something even just so small can utilize blockchain to quite a cool extent, and something so local. And yeah, I learned a lot about project planning and time utilization and utilization of my resources, what time I could allocate to learning and what time I needed to actually allocate to spending time working. And so I think it was a very great experience, and I'm quite proud of what I made. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Andrew Huang, and my project was on an item template for game developers. So the reason why I chose to do this as my project was because I saw that the game industry had a lot less interest in incorporating blockchain technologies. And so I wanted to create an easy to use app for developers so that they could get like more involved. And then another key feature of my application was that every NFT that was minted through it contains a JSON metadata as metadata. So it's easy for developers to extract all the information they need for their items in the game. And so I have a demo here of me running through minting an NFT. And as you will see, I'm opening up a modal that basically allows me to change the attributes of this NFT. This includes like a name, image, a description, some stats, and then also keywords for if the developer wants to add in their own special attributes for this item. And then in a little bit, you will see me also load in the NFTs. So you can have like a little gallery to see what NFTs the contract has minted. And then as you can also see, it doesn't just have to be items, but can also be like characters or anything that the developer wants to add into their game. And then finally, I also have NFT options, which allow you to import the NFT into your MetaMask wallet and also send it to other wallet addresses. This allows the developer and players to be able to test out to see how the items work in game. Some future plans that I had for this project were to incorporate component NFTs, which are basically like burnable NFTs that can merge together to become an item. The reason why I wanted to add this to my project was because I also wanted to add it so that players could mint NFTs as well. And so then they would be able to create their own unique items in game and also elevate their own experiences as a whole. And then finally, I also wanted to add a user-based inventory because currently my application actually only prints out, or actually it prints out all of the contracts all the NFTs that have been minted in the contract. And I would rather make it something that only prints out whatever's in the wallet of the user. And that concludes my my presentation. Thank you.
Hi guys, my name is Suhan, and here's my project. It's called Certify. It's a decentralized, it's a comprehensive decentralized identity verification system. And I built the phase 1, which is education credentials. And yes, there are multiple phases to this. So the problem. So I'm sure everyone over here might have applied to a company and they might have requested documents like your diplomas or your transcripts, right? So what would you have done? So you might have reached out to your college, and the college might have gone to a third-party provider. And then finally, the third-party provider might have sent the documents to the company, right? So my question is, why is the third-party provider in control of your diplomas and your documents, something that you worked hard for, right? And 2, why are they profiting out of it, right? And the problem I see over here is they're profiting out of it, they're centralized, and 3, that they don't really have a trust in us because obviously the documents could be forged or manipulated. So that's where Certify comes in. So here's how this works. So that video right there is just me flashing through on how a college can log in with their MetaMask and then just enter the student grades and yada, 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 and towards like how they can mint the thing. But let's focus on the picture over here, detailing the infrastructure of this. So as you can see right off the bat that my Certify exists on what already exists. So you already have your Web2 framework, you have your college database. So all Certify does is creates a layer of blockchain. So how this works is using two simple concepts. So smart contracts and NFTs. So what smart contract does is as soon as you complete your graduation requirements, it automatically mints an NFT for you containing your diploma and some other details, which I'll get to later on. And the NFTs make it seem like you cannot really change it or you cannot manipulate it. So that not only gives you the ownership because it's directly sent to your wallet, and it's also stored on the IPFS for easy access. Thank you, Kyle, for IPFS. It was super easy to implement. And third thing that was super cool is we have this verification system directly on the smart contract. So how this works is the NFT contains a message and a signature signed directly with the private keys of the college. So all we have to do is call that function, and it uses this really cool elliptic curve function to decrypt a public wallet address and compare it to the college's public wallet address. And if it's the same, that means that it's verified. Yeah. So, and here's a stack that I use for the project. So how this works, things that I'm proud of. So this was my first solo full stack application. I had to design the both UI, database, and everything. And I also had to show that this works with the current framework, which is the current college databases. So I also had to build that. And yeah, and verification using elliptic curve function. That's also super cool because that's what I learned during the classes and I get to see it implement in my project. And I also implemented these RLS policies and all of that. So that's the elliptic curve function visualized over there. So future developments, right now it's only the college dashboard that I have, but I'm planning to implement more dashboards for students and companies. And phase 2 is where I'm really interested in is tokenizing and NFTing the work experience where every project or contribution that you do can be minted as an NFT and verified. So yeah, you'll have a portfolio of verifications. So that's my project. And you can also view it there using that QR code over there. So thank you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Kyle Sprague. And so for my capstone project, I developed InsureCare. And basically what this idea stems from is that $6 billion a year is accredited to dental insurance fraud within that industry. And beyond that, the systems that they use are kind of untrustworthy because if the system were to go down, businesses could not get paid. 50% of dental practices revenue comes specifically from the insurance claims. And beyond that, 68.5 million adults don't even have a dental insurance plan. And that's not even including children. So with the implementation of my project, the idea is it's a 3-step plan to basically take preventative measures against insurance fraud. And by utilizing Ethereum's network, we're able to use that aspects of decentralization throughout the project. And beyond that, we're able to use smart contracts to validate those claims on the application. And so with the goals of that, by promoting transparency through the blockchain, companies will be able to more efficiently analyze risk because all the data will be there. And when we go even further into it, the decentralized system will help when servers are down because it's still able to operate. Because back to Emma's point of the nodes, when the server goes down, there's still an opportunity for businesses to make transactions with their insurance claims. And that last point here is by making this more efficient, more transparent, the insurance rates will go down and coverage will be more affordable for families and adults. So I'm going to go through a little demo right now. And basically right here, we just have a login and you can either log in with your previous ID if you've already created an account, or you can go down and go ahead and create an account if you're new to the system. But actually, we're going to go up and show some other features. So we have an About Us section, and this just basically goes over what I previously mentioned in the slide before in a little bit more depth. And this is a settings page, which unfortunately I did not get to implement, but this would really show all your account information on the app and kind of some other features. but we're going to go ahead and create an account. And what this does is it takes a wallet ID, so something like a MetaMask, which is a 42 alphanumeric code, and then you would put in your business name and your business location. And for this is just a test application, so that would be a lot more sophisticated on the front end. But in this, we come to a page that's called Submit a Claim. On the left, it just kind of explains that once again, this is a test application. That's just a small thing. And so we're in the filling section right now, which is just a specific procedure dentists do. And so we're going to go ahead and select one of the most expensive procedures, which is gold porcelain. And we're going to put in a price of $40,000, which in reality, this procedure would not be $40,000. So what it's going to do is check, and the claim will be flagged and currently under review. So now we're going to put in a more reasonable price, which is $750. And now that's successful. So the purpose of this application is really just to reduce that dental fraud and kind of help people promote better life quality for individuals in America. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So thank you so much.
Hey everyone, I'm Shayan, and this is my project StakeFi. Before I begin, I just want to start by saying why I chose to do this project. So I'm very passionate about computing and economics, and ever since I started exploring the blockchain space, I found the perfect way to combine these two fields in what is called decentralized finance. And I see this project as my first step towards this space. So what does StakeFi do? It allows users to stake their tokens in a very secure and simple manner. So users can deposit their marked Tether tokens and get a reward token in return. Users can also track their transactions and just keep track of their balances with the dashboard that shows them their staking balance and their reward balance. And a little thing that I like is the UI. I kind of like to see them as nodes on the blockchain network. All right, so how did I build this app? I used Solidity for the smart contracts. I used Truffle to compile and deploy them. Then I used React and JavaScript for the front end. And this was my first time doing front end, so I'm quite proud of that. And finally, I used Ganache to run them on the Ethereum test network. Yeah, so no matter what the outcome of this project was, I think we all learned a lot. And I'm not just talking about the technical skills like Solidity, blockchain, or like integrating Web3, but just managing projects in general, from taking them from initial ideas to final deployments. So what's the future for StakeFi? Well, given the time frame, I couldn't implement everything that I wanted to. But going down the road, I want to integrate 3 features that I really like. First one is a price tracking app, where users can track the real-time crypto market, and a trading feature, well, where you can trade crypto. And then finally, my first initial idea for the project, which I had to scrap, but a financial portfolio, where users can track all their digital assets like crypto, NFTs, stocks, and basically all digital assets. So yeah, that was my project. Thank you.
All right. My name is Caleb Height, and I built a crowdfunding application on the blockchain. So my main inspiration with this was that over the past year, I've made a few different fundraisers, and what I've realized is a lot of the problem people have with donating is that they don't know exactly where their money is going towards, right? They have no concrete evidence of where it's going. So what I decided was I would use blockchain to try to remediate this. And it actually helps in 2 ways, because for one, there's a ledger, so they can see exactly where their money is going. They have an address, and they can see all the information. And for 2, it's a direct transaction, and there's no middlemen, right? So it's completely fluid and completely direct. When I designed this, I was focusing on simplicity, because I believe if it's simple, people will actually donate and people will actually make fundraisers, and I think that's better for everyone. For my stack, I use FeltKit just because it's very simple to quickly build up a application. And I also used MetaMask for all of my transactions, and I used Solidity for my smart contracts. Now, for my future goals, I basically want to connect Firebase, which can allow me to host the website, but it'll also allow for Google authentication, which basically I can use that. So every user has their own account, and tied to each of these accounts will be a token, which basically will be a reward for the more money you spend and donate, the more of this token you'll receive. And you can use this token to promote your favorite charity, which I think will help overall promote donations, and it'll help a lot of people. So that's my project. Thank you.
All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Wolfgang Sell, and today I want to go over my Capstone project, which proposes and provides the framework for a trustless system for communal purchasing. So when I'm talking about communal purchasing, I'm generally talking about buying communes and people who buy in bulk. Who here likes discounts? Rhetorical question, everyone does. So pretty much what people do when they want to buy in bulk, but they don't want to be burdened with having to get a lot of money up front and having to store all those items, is they have a buying commune. As you can see, the people here, as you can see, the people here are going to go ahead and contribute the funds, and then someone will buy on the behalf of the commune, and then a receipt is generated, and then the goods are distributed amongst all these people. So the question is, why aren't you doing this? Well, it requires a lot of trust amongst people, and the main problem is mainly this guy. How do you know he's going to take the money and run? Is he going to purchase the right amount? Is he going to purchase the correct amount? And then only a single receipt is generated that legally points to this guy as the owner of the items that are purchases, which completely undermines this group of people who have contributed the funds. So if you maybe put in a lot, but you're only receiving a little bit, that's a big problem. So a lot of people don't do this. So here is my trustless system. It's a lot more straightforward. As you can see, the people just go ahead and contribute directly to the fund, and then they each get a receipt proportional to what they put in to the fund. So this guy put in 25%, so he gets a receipt that says he has 25% of this. So how can we accomplish this? Simple. Blockchain technology is possible. It would generally use a smart contract to handle the funds and the receipt generation. So let's go ahead and take a look at the demo that I made. Front end is made with React, if you're wondering. You connect with the wallet so the contract knows who's doing what, and then you can create a listing. And that triggers a function in the smart contract to create a listing object. So as you can see, this wallet address go ahead and made a contribution of 30 units. That's about $15. Those funds are being held in escrow and cannot be moved until either the contract expires or the listing is fulfilled. So it looks like the listing is fulfilled because this next wallet address went ahead and completed the listing. So now a receipt NFT is generated and the seller gets the funds. Just like if you were to go into a real store and you were to give the funds, you would receive a receipt that entitles you to what you purchased. So we can see here on the Block Explorer, the two wallets that made the purchase got NFTs representing what they have. The next step for this project is to work with image generation. So I can actually make an NFT that has an image that looks like a receipt. So that could help with user interoperability. I think this is something that could really help sellers move more product, and it could help everyone save a little bit of money. So thank you very much.
Hi everyone, my name is Nimra Syed and I'm a junior majoring in computer science. And I'm so excited to introduce you guys to Sidechain, which is like a blockchain platform that researchers can use to manage, share, and monetize their data. So in today's digital world, research community generates vast amounts of data, and the current systems that handle this data are quite fragmented and very inefficient. And that's where Sidechain comes in. So this is how the homepage of Sidechain looks like. It leverages the blockchain platform, the technology, and then provides a more secure, more transparent, and more easy way to manage your data, to share your data, anything you want to do with your data. So let's quickly see what Sidechain does. So it's like a 3-step simple process. So you start off by basically uploading your research data. Let it be like PDF, it could be like an image, it could be like any kind of file that you can like upload. And then that gets like translated into an NFT. into an NFT. So that NFT again runs through like a predefined automated code, which is AKA smart contract that is written in Solidity programming language in Ethereum blockchain technology. So then that gets stored in an IPFS, which is like decentralized. And I personally used Pinata because it was like reliable and it was very secure, as the CEO mentioned himself. And then the next component I have is a marketplace that the researchers can like buy, they can like lease, or they can like share their data just to promote like the monetizing component of the whole sidechain. I used React, Chakra UI, Next.js, and just basic like good front end like tools out there. And for my backend, I use like Ethereum, MetaMask, Solidity again, like the programming language to write the smart contracts, and then Pinata to for my IPFS. For my future plans, I'm gonna implement the royalty system just to kind of like incentivize the researchers to do what they love doing and to like kind of encourage them by giving them like slight profits. And then I also wanna, my mentor told me to like collaborate with like sub-industries and like the institutions to like take my project a step forward. And then last but not least, I also wanna enhance like the peer reviews and obviously the UI to make it more interactive, like even more like beautiful to look at. So yeah, thank you so much for listening to me.
Hello everyone, my name is Rahul Desai. I'm a senior in finance. Today I'll be presenting you guys with my project, Real Estate X. So it is a blockchain-based fractional tokenized real estate ownership platform. So what inspired me? My interest in commercial real estate inspired me to make a project solving super slow and complicated process to buy real estate. The objective of Real Estate X is to make real estate investment quicker and more accessible for retail investors like individuals. So how it works is this is the homepage of my platform, which has three components: list property, my investment, and the marketplace section. So what list property does is it lets a developer or a homeowner who want to sell their property as to people who doesn't have enough liquidity by letting those developers go to the property certification where they will provide the title certificate or a deed where the smart contract will after that verify the property is real or not. And if it's real, then they'll let them do the next section, which is the property price. They would put the value and how much of percentage of ownership they want to put in. For this example, a developer would put in $409,000 and 100% of the stake. And then they would mint the property, and then it will mint fractional tokens accordingly to the property value the user put in. Then after we would come to the marketplace section where all the users like us or retail investors would go there and then connect their wallets. And then after they would be able to buy tokens, however tokens for this case, it would be, if we were to count fractionalization, 409 tokens, $1,000 each. And then they would be able to own their tokens and co-own with other people on the exchange. Then after we would go to the My Investment section where people will be able to see how many tokens they have, what's the value. One of the other thing I want to touch base on is the Zillow part of the project where people will be able to see how their property is doing on the real market. If the property value on the Zillow would go up, it will tell a smart contract that the price has gone up, and the smart contract will then change the price of the token. And if the price would go up, the token price would go up, and if the price would go down, the token price would also go down. And that's about it. These are the technology stacks I use for backend. I use Solidity for writing the Ethereum smart contract, MetaMask, Remix, Infura, and Pinata to share data. For front end, I used React.js and Chakra UI. And for the future update, I wanted to actually integrate MLS system which is super accurate compared to the Zillow, because MLS system is for like realtors who they like, put in price and everything, and then develop the platform more by learning blockchain technology. And one of the fun fact is it is my first programming project on my own, or first project. Yeah, so that's it. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Teja, and I developed Decentralized Dreamers, which is a DAO that focuses on uplifting nonprofit organizations. And they do this by streamlining the funding process. So some of the background and purpose for this project. When I was doing my research, I found that there weren't many DAOs in the nonprofit sector. And another big problem that I found was that nonprofits generally have a problem with building trust with donors, especially if you are a small or like new nonprofit. It's really hard to convince donors sometimes that you're going to use large amounts of money for the right purposes. And so my question was, how do we bridge the gap between uncertain donors who really do want to help and then to the small or new nonprofits who have really good initiatives to help change the world? So a little bit about how my DAO works. It could be explained by a simple analogy like KU Senate. So first off, it starts off with a nonprofit organization, which in this case could be a student organization. And so they send a request to the DAO or KU Senate in this example. And that request contains important information that help make decisions. So the DAO then has access to either like approve or deny this request. And then if this request is approved, the transaction automatically happens and money gets sent to the vendor, which in this case could be a local pizza place that the student organization wants to buy from. And what this essentially does is gives members of the DAO the ability to choose what happens with their money, and also provides like a really quick and like large scale implementation. So some of the things that I implemented for this are NFTs for user authentication. And then nonprofits also have the choice to create requests by providing all of the relevant information like vendor's wallet address and attachment of an invoice. And all of this information is then stored for each request on IPFS. And then nonprofits also have the ability to track the requests as it goes through the DAO process. So when majority of the DAO approves this request, transactions are automatically carried out by a smart contract. And this just shows a little bit about how the DAO dashboard evolves through this approval process. And so some things I want to implement in the future are multi-sig wallets, as well as maybe the election process mechanism. So, and thank you for listening.
Hey guys, I'm Jay Patel, and for my Capstone project, I created Prop NFTs, which is a decentralized property ledger. How did I get the idea of this project? Is awesome. So when I went to India during the summer, after 2 years, I got to know from my parents that there's a legal dispute that has been going on regarding our land, and when we try to solve it and like fight for it, but at boiling down, we got to know that we'll be losing 20% of our land in our village. So it was because of a real estate error. So these were the exact problems that are present in market and that I faced. So title deeds disputes are very common in real estate sector, and having those issues are the main factors are inaccuracies in the recorded the stored records, Along with that, the traditional use of centralized authorities makes it even more complicated to check and like backtrack what was the original thing. Along with that, there is high tendency of human errors because we all are humans. We make errors for real. So along with that, there's manipulation chances are always there. You can, to be honest, in India, you can just bribe someone to get something done. So yeah, I integrated blockchain for this to approach those problems, and these are some solutions. I enhanced the security of title deed storage with smart contracts, and along with the usage of NFTs, it ensures the immutability of the title deed. So no one can, even if someone manipulated, it won't change the copy that you have, like as your NFT. The decentralized behavior as reduces human error risks and prevents manipulation. Uh, on top of that, there is the digital wallets that we use that the user will use will verify and approve the property details that they are inputting, and that's how the security would look like. Other than that, my future plans for this project would be a fully interactive NFT. So currently, you can only view title deeds. In near future, I'll be making this a fully interactive NFT so that everyone can open the image, look around, read the description thoroughly, and add a layer of authentication on top of that to view that deed. Things that I've learned, these are the main two things that I've learned, but there's so much that I've learned through this awesome program. Thank you, KBF team. I would like to show my gratitude to you guys. And the most humble moment in my and in this program's journey was when Hudson, one of the mentors, motivated me to go ahead with this project, which I was indecisive about at the like last week or something. So thank you so much, Hudson. You made this possible. You too, Pavek. Thank you so much for this awesome program, guys.
Hey everyone, my name is Shivansh, and my project is Demus, or Decentralized Music Application, which is a web-based application where artists can upload their music and share it with the audience. So what's the app about? It's about decentralization, compensation, and copy content prevention. So the music files are stored in an IPFS storage to prevent any single point of failure. Uh, Platform has its own vibe tokens, which can be used to compensate the artists, and they are unique to the platform. And the copy content prevention is managed by making a fingerprint and storing it on chain. And every time someone tries to upload a song, it verifies on chain and sees if it's there on chain or not. And if it's not there, then only let you upload. So what did I use for it? My main highlights were Firebase for user authentication. I used Chroma Print library, which is a C library for fingerprint generation, which was paired up with SHA-256 algorithm. For blockchain, all the smart contracts were deployed using Truffle on Polygon Amor testnet using Alchemy API. For music file storage, I used Pinata, obviously super easy. And hosting and deployment was handled by Heroku. So let's watch a demo video for my project. The project is up on GitHub, so you can directly access the link and use it yourself. So you would just click on the link, go ahead and get started, and log in or sign up. And once you're done, you'll connect your wallet, and just like that, it should show you your wallet address and Vibe tokens. By default, you have 10,000 Vibe tokens, but you can always mint more. So you would just hit on mint, and you would hit confirm, and it will take 15 seconds for it to show up on your account. But once it's done, you can see the tokens. Now let's try to upload a song. Let's say I want to upload a piano piece. So I would just make the title and select the song and click on upload. Once I do that, I can sign the transaction. And once I sign it, it should be uploaded, which you can see in the Discover page. And yep, the song is there, and then you can play the song as well. Yeah. And so let's say someone tries to upload a similar song or the same song with a random name with a random wallet. So let me put a random name with the same song, and it should tell you that a similar track already exists. And the fun part is you can also tip the artists using Vibe tokens. So you can click on tip, and select the number of tokens you want to put, and that's just super easy, right? What are my future plans for this application? So my future plans is to introduce membership tiers where artists can get paid monthly or something for the art that they put in, and they can release their unreleased or fan edition songs as an NFT, and they can also sell their show tickets using an NFT, and all this can be done using Vibe tokens. And another thing that I thought was we can integrate AI to make the system better in flagging songs. The best part about this fellowship was definitely interviewing Kevin, who basically set a trajectory for this project. I thank him for that. And at last, I just want to say thank you to the KBF team, all the fellows and mentors for making this a great experience. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shivansh, and I'm so sorry about the audio not working. What you might not know about Shivansh is that he's also an incredibly talented vocalist. He has some incredible music that he's also put out. So if you use this platform, you can go listen to him sing and you can tip him in Vibe token. And I want to actually highlight that, like, it's so cool that your passion for music related to this project. And similarly for all of you, like you took whatever kind of unique other interests you have, whether that's Dungeons and Dragons or Elia, who's done AI machine learning research before this and kind of bringing AI into things, or dental claims, or all of the unique things that you guys are involved in and interested in outside of this. It's so cool how you're able to apply blockchain to kind of your own world and your own projects. And I think you did a really good job of showcasing the breadth of all the use cases. So I'm gonna switch gears a little bit here because we're gonna get into judging. And a couple things to highlight kind of before we, actually, sorry, give me one moment. Want to make sure you guys can see the slides here. All right. So in talking about judging, there are a couple of disclaimers I want to give. So first of all of the projects were submitted Wednesday night, and then judging ended this morning. So it was a little bit of a quick turnaround. And so there might be a little bit of graciousness that we'll need for you to bear with us as we announce some of these awards. But another thing I want to say is that I think in things like this, there's maybe a little bit of anxiety about like, oh no, what if I didn't win anything, that type of thing. But I want to explain to everybody how the breakdown of the money worked in this program for the scholarships. So every single fellow for just participating, coming to classes, submitting their assignments, gets a $400 base scholarship. So everybody's getting that. And then for the mentor judging portion, each mentor had $100 to allocate however they saw fit. So it could be $100 to one fellow or evenly distributed. And this kind of was to honor the individuality and the individual expertise of each of the mentors, and also to kind of make things more fair in that way, because having a strict rubric can sometimes kind of limit maybe the fairness of recognizing all of the different aspects and different angles that go into making a project. So that's kind of how the mentor side of things worked. And if anybody has any anxiety about what if I didn't win any maybe title that we're going to show, or any anxiety about that, I want to assure you that every single fellow has, by the mentor prizes, already been granted something beyond the $400 scholarship. So let's actually take a moment and clap for the fellows for that. Seriously, all of you should be so, so, so proud of yourselves. And we wanted to not only honor kind of the mentors' expertise in the judging, but also the fellows. The fellows judged each other and voted for whatever projects they thought were most creative and most complete and things like that. And then the KBF team, after all of those were submitted, and both the mentors and the fellows didn't know what each other said. So it was all completely kind of objective. But we had kind of seen how the other things had shaken out already. And so we wanted to then add kind of another layer of fairness by we saw how much work you guys put into this. And we saw a lot of the journey along the way, and how much maybe different people kind of sought out feedback and help and things like that throughout the journey. So our KBF team allocation was the 4 of us sat down today and we looked through kind of how things had already shaped out. And so we honored, I believe it was 3 kind of additional things through that. So to be clear, the mentor first, second, and third place just has to do with who was given the highest percentage of the mentor allocations. But even if you didn't get first, second, third place, everybody was given some percentage of that. And then for the fellows, we'll kind of explain that as we get to it. And then for the KBF team, both the fellows and the KBF team, these are monetary prizes. There are also going to be a few other honors that we're going to give. And this is things like as the judges submitted their forms, they were given the option to say, if you could have added an award, what do you think it should have been and who should have gotten it? So we're going to have a couple other highlights. So again, you might still not want to vote yet. Maybe you might want to wait till all of this concludes and we'll remind you to vote in a little bit. So how this is going to work is Micah and Yash are kind of going to read out the winners for each of these different categories. If you won, please come up because we have a teeny tiny little trophy to give you. And then we're going to get a picture, just like really quick. We're not going to like stop. It's going to be an action shot of the handing off of the tiny trophy. And then we're all going to clap like as that happens. So I think we're ready to begin. Micah is holding a mic. So.
I'm holding a mic. So I think first we're going to do the mentor allocations, and first we're going to announce third place. So if you want to announce that.
Okay.
Drum roll, please.
All right, mentor, more drum roll. Third place was Real Estate X.
We have a trophy for you, so everyone, yeah.
You might have to zoom in. Yay, Raul, great job.
Second place. Sidechain, Nimra. Awesome job. And now for our first place on the mentor decisions. I can't say it. Emma, you want to say it? Authentic by Elia.
Yay.
Great job, Elia. And then next, we're gonna move on to KBF team decisions or fellows.
Fellow decisions.
Fellows. In first and third place, we have certified Suhan.
Sorry, first place.
First place, actually. This is first place this time.
Yay. First place, yay. All right.
In second place, we have Dimus by Shivansh.
Oh, you keep it. Yeah, it's yours.
And then first place.
Third place.
Oh, third place.
Sorry.
Sorry. We have
Authentic
again. Elia.
Double trophy, yay. Yeah. Again, sorry about the slide ordering. This was like a day today.
Today they had until this morning, and then we kind of went through the afternoon.
No excuses. Thanks for bearing with us, though.
And Yasha's going to introduce the other awards.
Hello. So coming up next is the KBF team decisions. We just decided on this a few hours ago, and we tried our best to allocate the money in the nicest way possible. So coming up at the KBF team third place is Marcus LePage for Find My Food. Next up, second place. That's item template. Andrew. We'd like a drum roll. Come on, guys, get more excited. First place from KBF team is trustless system for communal purchases, Wolfgang. Coming up next, I know we dropped the ball in there, but the most creative project that we saw in this team was obviously Authentihash or Demos.
Oh my God,
Wait.
sorry. Authenticash.
Once again, that's 3 trophies right there. So.
Yay. We already got 2 pictures. All right, most complete.
And the most complete award goes to Demos by Shivansh.
Yay.
Also, judging for the most complete and the most creative award came from both fellows and from mentors. We just summed up the total and tried to keep it as transparent as possible. Thank you and congratulations to all the winners.
And we have a couple other little honors we will also be giving. So these were additional honors that the mentors had called out during judging that they thought should get a little bit of extra honor. So best real location, this was for Real Estate X. So we'll have a round of applause. And then clearest vision of what blockchains are good at. That was Kevin's award that goes to Elia with Authenticash. And then best social good, decentralized dreamers DAO for Tasia. Congratulations, fellows. We're so, so, so proud of you. And I want to reiterate again, even if you didn't get a tiny trophy, you still even better because the tiny trophies did not cost very much at all. So
Even better, you won our hearts and you
yes.
created one of the best projects out there. So
now a few more things to celebrate. This isn't on the slides, but I want to give a shout out to Caleb, who submitted his project. I believe it was 2 or 3 days before the deadline. So you won first place for early bird submission. And then it was about, we can clap, let's clap. It was about a 15-way tie for last place there, because I'm not even joking. We were all frantically refreshing the dev post, waiting for your submissions to come in. And we had to start thinking about what if Caleb is the only fellow that submitted. But everybody pulled through, everybody submitted, and you submitted amazing projects. You just took adequate time and care to put into them, which Caleb did as well. He just did earlier. So great job to you all for that. But a few more things we want to celebrate. These are from different questions that we asked the fellows. And for transparency, I believe only 11 fellows submitted this form. So this data might be potentially higher numbers if we were able to get all 16 submissions. But one thing to call out is that 81% of the fellows said they made at least one new friend through the program. Let's clap for that. Let's clap for that. Okay, we can take a clapping break because there's kind of a lot of things to clap for. So no more clapping on this slide. But another thing is that 90% said that they learned a lot from the classes. 90% also met at least one mentor that they really connected with. And then 100% would recommend the program to others next year. Now the Audience Choice Award. Okay, we can clap. Okay, audience choice award. If you haven't submitted that yet, go ahead and submit that now. We're gonna announce the results of that in a minute. We won't have a slide because we don't know what you're gonna say yet, but I believe maybe John V is gonna be checking that form and get the real-time results. Actually, it's gonna be Micah. And as Micah's monitoring that, we want to give a few thank yous. First of all, thank you so much to Pinata for being the reason that we were all able to be here today. Thank you to our second sponsors, Ripple, for opening the door for this opportunity to be available to more people. Thank you to A16Z Crypto for allowing us to all read, write, own, which was a huge value add to the program. And on top of this, there are a few other thank yous that we have to give. This program is, all of the funding has gone through KU. So KU has helped steward that gift for us. And specifically, the Institute of Information Sciences has been the department at KU that we've been partnering with. So specifically, Ham and Andrew at the Institute for Information Sciences who've helped make all the food orders. There was one time something went slightly wrong with the Chipotle order. So Andrew went to Chipotle himself and then pulled up with like 100 burritos or whatever and handed them off to us directly. Like they did so much for us through this program. They're also going to be processing your scholarships. So we're very grateful for them. Dr. Perry Alexander and Dr. Jennifer Lowe Hefner, who were the people that initially were the first supports as we were kind of getting this program out. And we have so many people to thank that we can't possibly thank them all, but I want to thank all of you for coming tonight. And I want to thank all of the fellows for all of the incredible work that you have put into this program. Seriously, we had such high expectations the whole time and you still surpassed them every time and really, really blew us away. And I think now we're gonna announce the Audience Choice Awards. Maybe raise your hand if anyone needs more time to submit that form. Okay, you guys are so fast. Man, it takes the fellows forever to submit their forms.
Emma, while Yash is trying to find out who won the Audience Choice Awards, and while we're also doing a round of thank yous, can we just take a moment to absolutely celebrate and also recognize Emma for all of the hard work and effort that she's put into this entire program? Emma has put in her absolute heart and soul into this entire program, like she does with absolutely everything since March, and has made sure that the fellows are getting everything that they can in the most perfect way possible, which you guys definitely have, I hope. And Emma has just been one of the greatest. Her passion for blockchain has totally brought in such a great community in the Midwest area, and her legacy will absolutely be there at KU forever. Emma is not just one of our mentors or leaders, but she's one of our greatest and truest friends that we have. And we're so happy for you, Emma. Don't cry. Cry. Hope that wherever you go in the future, you keep changing the world around you and keep making it a better place like you have for us right here.
Okay, I'm gonna go.
And I'd also, yes, of course. I'd also like to add, you have amazing traits about yourself. You are a wonderful friend. You've been a visionary throughout this whole process. I will announce like that I was skeptical about the timeline with setting this up, and you were a visionary. You really set this thing up and you said, we're going to do it. We're going to make it happen. It's going to be this summer. And also your empathy and communication, this wouldn't have been what it is without your communication. The way you've been able to communicate with mentors, with fellows, with everybody on this team, it's been a great experience. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Well, I did not pay them to do that. I promise. Thank you, guys. That was so sweet. And I think we're now ready to announce the Audience Choice Award.
And well, the winner is, any guesses, guys? Any guesses?
We can, drum roll, drum roll, drum roll.
Yeah, we can have drum roll. Well, it's Wolfgang for his trustless system for communal purposes. I'd like to recognize that.
Amazing work, Wolfgang, and to all of our fellows, we're so, so proud of you. Congratulations, that's, you're done. Yay, you can go. All right. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here again. We have this room for a while, so you all are welcome to stay. I believe there's still some more cookies and brownies, and please feel free to come up and congratulate your fellows.
Also, I'll be interviewing people. So if anyone wants to be interviewed for some reason, or not for some reason, but if anyone wants to be interviewed, just come to me, and we'll have that set through. So
awesome, thanks.
I'd also like to recognize the effort parents have put in, or everyone that's helping all their kids do all the things around here. For someone like me who's not millions, but 1,000 of mile away from my parents, I feel like having some support just helps your kid do so much better. So thank you so much for doing that. And not just your kids, but if you have someone you're mentoring, keep doing that. I think that allows someone to develop and gain some better skills, be better. And again, awesome. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks.